Hi, everybody, and welcome to a terrific Thursday. It's actually the last day of this week, and so we're going to go ahead and start our next chapter, chapter 10. And it is lesson 1 is time to the hour. Time is so important. I don't, there's not a day that goes by when we're in the classroom that someone will say, Mrs. Swint, what time is it? Or how soon do we have recess? Or when will we have lunch? And you can look at my clock in the classroom or Mrs. Hughes and Mrs. Maltman's, and then the answer is right there in front of you. So we're going to start very simply with just time to the hour. There are 24 hours in a day. And what's really cool is we can eat lunch at 12 o'clock and we can be in bed at 12 o'clock midnight. We have an AM and a PM. So we have 12 numbers that are on the clock face, and we, in a day's time, will go through that twice. So let's go ahead and get started, but not first without a joke. All right, I found this one and I thought you'd enjoy this. My friends, what did one toilet say to the other? You look a bit flushed. Why did the pitcher go to the jail? Because it was framed. Let's do one more because it's Thursday. What did one wall say to the other wall? I'll meet you in the corner. All right, enough with the jokes. Let's start telling some time. Open up your math book to page 593. We first want to go ahead and we want to fill out our clock. So we're missing some numbers and we need to fill those in from 12 back to 12. So we've got 12 o'clock and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So these are the missing numbers on our clock that you're going to see in front of you. And now we're going to go ahead and we are going to draw hands on the clock to show 4 o'clock. I'm going to use 2 different colors. I'm going to use orange because you know how Mrs. Swin, sometimes when we worked with certain number equations, I like to use 2 different colors to kind of separate the values. Well, on our clock, our minute hand is going to be the longest hand. And the minute hand I'm going to represent in orange. The hour hand we'll use is blue. Now, what you're going to notice, I'm going to make my little blue hour hand, is that the hour hand is much shorter. It's shorter than the minute hand. So we have hour, minute, hour, minute. You have a short hand, which is the hour hand. It tells the hour of the day. And you have the minute hand that tells me how many minutes are past the hour or until the next hour. Now, my minute hand here is pointed let's make sure it's orange, is right there, pointed straight to the 12 right now. And my hour hand is right there to 4. So I would say this is 4 o'clock. It could be 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which would be the time you normally would come home from school. Or it could be 4 o'clock in the morning where we're all sleeping. Let's turn the page. On the next page, it says there are 2 types of clocks. We have what's called an analog clock. Analog clock. And this is what you see in our classroom. It's the circular clock that has the numbers all around it from 12 back to 12. It shows a minute hand. It shows an hour hand, which they're representing a minute hand. Remember the tallest hand in blue now, and the hour hand is in red. Well, we have that you're probably most familiar with is a digital clock. When Mrs. Swint puts on her phone, that's what she's going to see generally, is a digital clock. Or when she puts on her iPad, you're going to see the digital numbers. That would be the 1224. It means the hour, which they show first, is 12, and the minute is going to be 24. On my phone, it's the same way. Generally, on my phone, it's at the very top, and it's going to show the hour and then the minute. So in this example, they're showing us that it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's look down below. Down below we have, and it wants us to use a Judy clock, those little round clocks that you may have seen in my classroom from previously. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a website that you can get on to actually see your own clock. So this is a website. It's visnos.com/demos/clock. And I put that on my homework page. So later on, if your parents want to pull that up, they certainly can. Let's go ahead and try to bring everything together here. Maybe make this a little smaller. So it says, tell what time is shown and write the time. So the first part of my number 1, it's showing me my minute hand is on 12, my hour hand is on 9. If I move my clock where my minute hand here is on 12 and my hour hand, which is the shorter hand, is on 9, it tells me it is 9 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and I would write the hour is 9, and there are 0 minutes past this hour. So it's 9:00. I would say it as 9 o'clock. Let's take a look at our next one. Our next one shows the hour hand, and that's what I'm going to say first, the hour hand and then the minute hand. So generally, let's think of it this way. You put shorter people in the front for a class picture. That's what we're going to do. We want to establish and say the names of my shorter hand. In this case, we have our clock where the hour hand is at 11, the minute hand is at 11, or is at on the 12. Again, it's 11 p.m. On my worksheet here, I will write down 11, and then I'm going to put 2 zeros because there's no minutes. It's just 11 o'clock. It's simply the hour. And that's all this lesson really tells us today. On the next one, my hour hand, which I say first, the shorter hand is on 6. And the minute hand, again, it's at 12. So I know it's 6 o'clock. Now, in the future, the very soon to be future, we are going to be, let's find her little clock again. You're going to be seeing where the minute hand goes from 11, it's going to maybe go to the first number. Each one of these little black lines are a minute. So I'm not very good at holding my breath, but if I held my breath for 1 minute, it would be 60 seconds. And so it would be 11:01. If I maybe, let's say Mrs. Swint ran upstairs because I'm in the basement, and I got another cup of coffee, and then I came back down, that would probably take me about 1, 2, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, probably about 5 minutes. And so my clock is going to look a little different. It's no longer going to be 11. it'll be at 11:05 or 5 minutes past the hour. We'll talk more about that later. Let's go back to our worksheet now. How is an analog clock similar to a number line? Well, just like on a number line, if I have my number line here, I have increments. We'll say 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. My numbers, just like on a clock, are evenly spaced, just like on a number line. My numbers go from 1 to 12 here. I could do 1 to 12 on my number line. Let's turn the page. On the next page is independent practice, and I'm going to let you work on this today. This is one where you remember always, I'll do the first one with you. Let's recognize where the hour hand is first. Hour hand's the short hand, minute hand's the long hand. So if I take a look, I recognize my short hand first is 1 o'clock. So I would put a 1, and the minutes, there's no minutes right now. We're simply at 1 o'clock. I'm going to let you do the rest of these. On the next part, drawing the hands of the clock, they want you to write the time, and that when you're writing the time, this is showing me the digital clock. The analog clock has the hands. So you will show me, and we'll do the first one together, my minute hand. I should have started with my hour hand first. So my hour hand's my small hand, my shorter hand, followed by my minute hand. So I am showing here then 5 o'clock. All right. Let's go ahead to the next page for problem solving, just to make sure there's nothing tricky. Show the time on each clock. Colin gets home at 3 o'clock. Evan gets home 1 hour later. What time does Evan get home? Use your thinking. So understand you're going to draw on that clock an hour later than 3 o'clock. So when I look at the clock, what comes after 3? Basketball practice starts at 4. Mark eats a snack 2 hours before 4 o'clock. Your answer now, when it says what time did he eat a snack, to put on that digital clock, don't remember looking at a clock face. If the practice started at 4, he was 2 hours before. What would that be? My brain builder, it is 4 hours before 12 o'clock. What time is it if it is exactly on the hour? So when they ask about before, we're doing subtracting. We have to go back. So show on this clock what the time would be. The last part on independent practice is what time is it when the hour hand is on 5 and the minute hand is on 12? You could go back if you wanted to and show your go onto the website, and you could pull that up. If my hour hand was on 5 and my minute hand is on 12, it will tell us what time it is. Again, that might help us out. Your homework are the next 2 pages. I don't think there's anything there that's going to be confusing for you. It looks pretty straightforward. When you get to vocabulary check, don't just guess. If you're not sure, go back in your lesson. Put the correct vocab into the right spaces and spell them correctly. Understand this is hour hand, analog clock, minute hand, digital clock. All right, my friends, I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.